Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ladies Podcast Show. I am Deborah Walter, just conversations with Deborah, and I know it has been a minute since I have been before you guys. Couple of weeks, a couple of weeks ago. It's from having a crud, trying to get over that, and then traveling for the holidays, spending time with family, which was a delight, which was a treat, and just blessed that we were able to travel safely and return home safely. And so I hope the same. I pray the same for your family. If they're still traveling, making their way back home, I pray that all is well and safe travels for them as well. I do want to. Well, I do not want to forget to plug my book. You guys know I always have a tendency to do that. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to go ahead and plug it, and then we're going to try to go ahead and get into this conversation. All right. Should be coming up. It's kind of slow tonight, but bear with me. All right. Should be up on the screen. Why God Answers a Sinner's Prayer, Growing in Love to Witness God's Glory. I published it in hard copy back in July 25th, 2020 of this year. And it's an interesting perspective, to say the least, my perspective, based on my experiences. It has a lot of spiritual, it has a spiritual background, a lot of spiritual content to it. And it kind of starts off, about my religious background and where I am, well, I'm not going to say where I am today because I actually wrote that book back in 2010. Well, maybe a little bit, maybe 2013. But either way, I'm still on that spiritual journey, still on this spiritual path, trying, growing and learning and evolving. But this book, this question, I eventually answer this question in my own way, like I said, based on my own experience, why God answers a sinner's prayer. So I encourage you guys to go out there and show some support for 1099, and if it resonates with you, the material resonates with you, I wouldn't mind you coming back here on the show on Sunday, which I didn't mention that our new lineup is here at the top scrolling. I am here every Sunday, just conversations with Deborah, and then Felisa is back here with us on Tuesday. Talk to him, Felisa. And like I said, I have been away for a minute, so you guys forgive me. And tonight I just want to talk a little bit about faith versus manifestation. First, faith versus manifestation. And I'm going to stop sharing right now. And I will go ahead and grab the URL from Amazon for the book. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. So you can just grab it from there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And it looks like it did it more than once. So I don't want to confuse things. Give me a minute while I clean this up a little bit. All right. Putting the content come in twice. And that's the rest of it. All right. All right. And so also to mention, there's our barcode. I know it's been missing in action a little bit, but there's our barcode. Scan it, subscribe, hit that notification, tell somebody about the show. And give me just a minute. All right, just have to get some instructions there. I don't want you guys to have a bad experience, your viewing experience to be bad because I'm wobbling. But yeah, hit the notification. Scan that barcode with your phone. Hit the notification. Subscribe and hit the notification so you'll be notified when we go live. Like I said, I know I've been missing action for the last couple of Sundays. Things going on. I'm looking to be back here, every Sunday with no, no delay. But things happen in life, right? That's okay. Things happen in life. So like, share, and subscribe to the Ladies Podcast Show. Like, share, and subscribe to the Ladies Podcast Show. And before we get into the topic of faith versus manifestation, I do want to share that I did, as part of the holiday travels. Unfortunately, I also had to go home to a funeral burying one of my uncles, who I love dearly. And I just must say, someone who have, the span of my life, I have, gone to several funerals. I've lost several loved ones, throughout the years. And I'm going to be honest, this one was the most, I hate to say the word enjoy, I enjoy it the most, but I'm going to have to, for the lack of a better word, I'm going to say enjoy it the most. And you may say, Deb, why do you mean, funerals are not to be enjoyed? Well, it depends on how you look at it. It depends on your culture and how you look at, laying your loved ones to rest. But I'm saying the most enjoy because, they kept it real at my uncle's funeral. They kept it real. It was, the basics. We didn't have, all, the choir singing and, we didn't have all the, I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm going to say we didn't have all the theatrics, but they kept it real. Yeah, they shared that my uncle was a good guy, a good person, so to speak. But they also spoke about the not so good things about him. How he could be very mean at times, and that how he fought, got into fights, and they made it. My uncle who spoke on, shared some of the stories, of his brother. He made it kind of jovial, kind of funny because I mean, why not keep it real when you're putting your loved ones to rest and you're getting up there speaking, saying a couple of words of it or whatever? Yeah, I get it. It's a time where you may be sad because you lost your loved one, you're gonna miss them and all that good stuff. But I don't think there's any harm in keeping it real. We just, we get so engulfed in, the emotions of it, where you're sad and you're sobbing and you want the world to think, oh, because this person is no longer with us, they were just this angel, that did all these world shaking things, these world moving things, but what about the not so good things that person may have done? I don't think there's any harm in sharing those things as well. I think it's beautiful being honest. And so that's why I said I think it was one of the ones I most enjoyed because prior to me just, where I am today, better understanding life in depth and what, better understanding, not having all the answers for sure, but just better understanding what this life is. If you ever come on the Ladies Podcast show, I always say life is a cycle. It's a cycle. And we're all energy. We're energy beings. We're shelled housed in this flesh, in this meat suit, I like to call it, and the energy, the source energy, the piece of divinity that is within us that gives this body life, it has an expiration date on it. This body has an expiration date on it, and that's just what it is. We have to, face that and it only helps us to better understand it. So I just thought it was a beautiful thing that we were able to talk about, not just the good, but the bad things also at my uncle's funeral. So I'm going to get off that topic because I know my subject tonight is about faith versus manifestation. And so I'm going to get into that a little bit. And before I do, just want to say, Mr. Sugar Daddy, hello, Mr. Sugar Daddy, welcome to the show. Serene, welcome to the show. Thank you guys for joining. And so when I talk about faith versus manifestation, there seems to be like a new age trend. You go on YouTube, you go on TikTok, just about all these social media platforms, and they're talking about manifest this. You can have the home of your dreams. You can have your dream job. You can have just about anything that you want under the sun if you just learn how to manifest, how to bring it into reality, right? And so they give you all these tips on how you should, get to a place of peace and quiet the mind and just really hone in and try to, touch with, your spiritual side and just, just this super focus, this super concentration, right? And focus, seriously focus on what it is that you want to create or manifest in your life. And then I'm sure some of you are out there. And if you are, drop a comment, share your experience. If you're one of the ones that caught, you caught on to, or you gravitated towards one of those trendy manifestation gurus, so to speak, or I don't even want to say psychics. I mean, but they get into that manifestation stuff too. If you're one of the ones who did, and this is no judgment at all, I just want to know what your experience was. When you practice every step that they ask you to practice, did it work for you? Did it work for you? If not, that's fine too, because these things can be tricky. If it was just so easy peasy, everybody be driving around here in their dream car. Everyone would be living in their dream home. Prisoners who've been locked up in prison, they'll manifest their freedom. Not trying to be funny, But just saying, if it was so simple, if it was just so easy to just get into a place of quietness and quiet the mind and focus, and then boom, you're going to manifest everything that you ever wanted, desired in life. I, for one, don't think it works like that, to be honest. And back to my topic, faith versus manifestation. To me, faith and manifestation works hand in hand. And a scripture comes to mind when I say that. Faith and manifestation goes hand in hand. There's a scripture that says faith without work is dead. And to me, faith, in addition to work, is the manifestation, is the result of that. Faith without work is dead. What do you mean to have faith? Faith without work is dead. It's to believe in something. But it's not that simple. Even that is not so simple. When the Bible speaks about if you only had it says faith the size of a grain of a mustard seed can move mountains. Now you guys know what mustard seed is, so small. Mountains can range in height and size, but they can be very huge. It depends on the mountain that you're trying to move. So if it's that's why I say I still don't think it's just that simple to have that small amount of faith to be able to manifest or create the things that you want in life. Because once again, if it was so simple, if it was so simple, you and I would have everything that we want in life, everything that we want. And so you may say, well, okay, well, Deborah, what are you getting? What are you getting at? What is your point when it comes to faith versus manifestation? I believe now, if you go back to your childhood, this is some thoughts that I had when I was thinking on the subject. When you go back to your childhood and how innocent your childhood was, and you think about, okay, we just gone through Christmas, and everyone was told about Santa. Oh, you got to be good throughout the year. If you don't, you're going to get on a naughty list, and Santa's not going to give you what you want. Santa, and as a child, you believed in this person, this Santa. You believed that this person was real, someone that you never, ever, ever, ever witnessed with your own eyes. No different than the creator. You never witnessed a physical manifestation of the creator with your own eyes. Now, I don't want you to get that confused when I say we're all a piece of divinity. Because if you go real deep down a rabbit hole, you're going to say, well, you are God in the flesh. But we're not going to go there. That's a different subject. But just follow me. When you're young and so innocent and you believed in just about anything someone told you, you believe in this Santa Claus dressed in this red and white suit who had a sleigh that was pulled by flying reindeers. Flying reindeers. And this individual, this Santa, was able to deliver presents to every child in the world in one single night. And you probably didn't question it. Being a kid, I'm most certain that you did not even question. You just believed it, and you wanted to hurry up and go to bed at Christmas Eve, and you wanted to be sure that you were good enough throughout the year, and that Santa was going to show up and deliver your presents. Well, I'm going to say this: as a kid, I did ask the question. May not ask my mom, but if you watch those Christmas movies, those Christmas shows, Santa always came down the chimney. And I used to think to myself, well, we don't have a chimney. How is Santa going to get in? It didn't show him in the movies walking through doors. It didn't show him in the movies coming through windows. But I said, because I wanted to believe in Santa so strongly, so badly, I said, well, maybe Santa can come to our window. But so do you see what I'm saying? You believed as a child just about everything your mom and dad told you. You believe in this Santa Claus. You believed that, you were going to get presents delivered to you, and you didn't question it. There's the innocence of that. And so I say that to say this. To me, faith is so individual. Faith is so individual. And I think it's something that you have to look within. Faith is within yourself versus looking outside yourself. Let me say that again. Faith is something that should exist within you versus outside of you. And you may say, well, Deborah, what do you mean? If you believe that you are a spark of divinity, a spark a piece of God's source itself operating in this flesh, in this being called Deborah. So when you have faith, you're calling on that piece of divinity, that piece of divine energy. The words can't describe, but if you believe in that piece of divine energy that exists within you, I believe when you are praying for something, when you're having faith in something, you should go within. And it's so individual that when there is something that you want in your life, some change, and if you go within, you believe in yourself that you can manifest those things by the work that you do, believing that it's going to happen, saying, I have laid out this plan for me to be, I don't know, you want to own your own business in the next 3 or 4 years. And you go within yourself and say, I believe in me. I believe that all the possibilities within me. And I'm going to activate those possibilities by taking actions to do whatever you need to do that leads up to you owning your own business in said amount of years. I don't believe that you just sit there and you just manifest every day, 3 days, 3 times out the day, 30 to 45 minutes a day. Super focused on what this, you got this image in your head that you're going to have it, you're going to have it, you're going to have it. And then you just leave it at that. There's no work behind it. There's no plan. There's no action. That's me. I don't believe it's as simple as just, sitting there meditating and thinking and it's going to happen. I don't think it's that simple because, as I said, everybody will have everything that they've ever wanted in this life. But I do believe that faith starts within. And I'm going to give an example, not to go dark on this example. And I'm going to get into some questions. I lost my mom at a very young age. And through her sickness, I was there praying every day, reading the Bible to her, just believing and having faith that this God that I've been taught that healed the sick, turned water into wine, fed the poor, and that same God that I was taught said the same God of yesterday is the God of today. I believe with everything in me. I was a teenager. What else was there for me to believe in? I'm watching modern medicine not do anything for her. I'm watching modern medicine causing her to be weak and sicker than what she was before she even started her treatment. And so, but at the end of the day, with all the praying that I did, or the faith, because I was believing outside of myself versus within. And then, like I said, faith is more individual, meaning that she did, passed away after 2-3 years of suffering. So I don't believe your faith. Well, I'm going to ask it in the form of a question, and maybe you guys can help me out. Was it that my faith wasn't strong enough for her to be healed from her sickness? Or was it that her faith, her own individual faith, wasn't strong enough to bring about her own healing? Or is it that when it's simply outside of the will of her life for her to continue any longer? I don't know. You guys tell me. But like I said, I really do still believe that faith is more of what you draw on from the inside. And if you waver in your faith, if you waver at all in your faith, I believe when doubt sets in, it sets you back. I believe that. When doubt sets in, it sets you back. So with that being said, Mr. Sugar Daddy said faith. I'm going to put it on the screen here. Faith, like a mustard seed, is fundamentally simple. Yet we often complicate its pure essence. Okay, you're talking to me. We complicate its pure essence by overthinking what was meant to be beautifully straightforward. Oh, if you could give me some more of this, more of what you're saying there, Mr. Sugar Daddy. When you say pure, when we complicate its pure essence, is it that our energy is not where it needs to be? Our energy is not centered? We're not focused? Is it that when you say we're overthinking? What part? How are we overthinking it? want to be retired by the age of 50. And I'm going to believe that with everything in me. Do I just leave it at that? Do I just leave it at that? By the age of 50, I want to be retired from punching anybody's clock, logging on to anybody's computer. Do I just say it that simply and leave it right there? Somebody help me out. Help me out. Because like I said, I don't have this thing figured out. Although some things that I've asked for in my life, I have seen them manifest. Not all things, but some things. And yet it's still, I don't have the recipe as to how that became so. Was my energy high enough? Was I positive enough? Did I have the right people around me? Did I have someone else in addition to me believing this for myself, for me as well? I don't know. You tell me. What is it? What is it? I think we all could benefit from knowing and helping each other come to this answer. Faith versus manifestation. One does not work without the other. I can assure you of that. Faith versus manifestation. One does not work without the other. And before we get into some questions, if you are just now joining the Ladies Podcast Show, I am your girl, Deborah, Just Conversations with Deborah. I am here every Sunday, just pretty much talking about, all things, that may impact our lives, be it, spiritual, physical, emotional, financial, whatever the case may be, whatever is laid on my heart to come before you guys and speak about. That's what I do. These are my views, my own personal experiences. I don't give guidance and advice, counseling, or anything of the nature. If anything that I share with you from my own experience, my own thought form, my own worldview, as you all know, our worldview is based on our experiences, be it good or bad. Then bless you. If anything resonates with you, then I appreciate you joining the show and love your feedback and love your comments. All right, so I'm going to stop and I'm going to start asking some questions here. Starting with question number 1. What is faith and how is it different from just believing in something? I believe it's one and the same. I believe faith and believing in something is one and the same, but my question remains the same. How strong does your faith have to be? The Bible speaks about faith the size of a grain of a mustard seed, and a grain of a mustard seed is super small. It's super small. But is it that if you waver at all, if you waver in your faith, does that set you back? I believe it does. I think you got to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that what it is that you're asking for is going to happen. And if it requires action, as I've said, I believe it requires action on your part. Faith without work is dead, as the Bible tells us. I believe it requires work and effort on your part. But are you working towards something, but at the same time, you got doubt is going to happen? Or here's a better question. Using the example of starting your own business. Let's say that, okay, the first step may be getting your business license. I don't know what the requirements are. It could be having a valid ID, having a proper business name that is registered, a location, maybe a building where you're going to operate your business out of. I don't know if those are prerequisites, but let's just say that they are. And you go down to the business, to the courthouse, wherever the place may be, where they grant your business license. I think it's in the courthouse somewhere. But anyway, you go there, you fill out the application, and you do not have a proper business name established. Now, I could see that being one of the prerequisites, because how are you going to get a business license if you don't have a business name? All right, you get set back from that. And, that seems like a simple feat. You go out there and create your business name. You go out there and check the registry, make sure it's not already taken. But you feel defeated because you were banking on that day. You're going to at least check that off your list. All right, you get that squared away and you go back. Oh, now they got a new requirement. You got to have at least a location where you're going to do your business out of, and you cannot do it at your home. Now that sounds like an even bigger setback to me. So are you going to, at this point, feel defeated? Are you going to start wavering in your faith? Are you going to, okay, all right, it's a setback. This is another setback. I'm going to keep pushing forward because I have faith and belief that I'm going to get this business open. You tell me, does wavering in your faith cause any sort of setback. And it's faith and belief in something one and the same. I believe it is. But I believe that you got to have this strong determination. And regardless of your setbacks, regardless of the naysayers, that you're going to push forward because you believe without a shadow of a doubt. You believe you've been shown this, God has shown you, and you're going to push forward and you're going to make it happen because faith without work is dead. And you're going to push forward. All right. All right, Familiar. Good evening, ma'am. Happy New Year. Kind regards from Denmark. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The million, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. In my opinion, African Americans are so strong in their faith and family values since they have been mistreated for far too long. Kind regards from a white man in Denmark. Thank you so much. And I am going to I'm going to speak from that perspective because I'm a Black American, and I very well know our history. I know our background, understand our struggles, and even in today's time, some of those struggles that do still exist. And you're right. Most Black families, if not all, have a very strong religious background, believe in going to church every Sunday religiously. And my own background, being raised by my grandmother after my mom passed, I mean, if there was a Bible study, we went to Sunday school, of course, church, Sunday service. If there was a revival, from Sunday to Sunday, we were there, leave them breathe. And as I was just sharing, as my mom was going through a sickness, that's what I focused on. That's what I resorted to. The word of God, having faith and belief that she was going to be healed from her illness. So you absolutely right. We do have a strong foundation in faith and belief. And honestly, I do think that is the fundamental foundation of our families today. Still, as I share, my connection with God, and I'm going to say God, creator source, infinite source, is more so spiritual than religious. Although I came from a very religious background, there were things that transpired in my life. One of those things was losing so many family members, like back to back. And the worst type of death that I think a family can experience is one of tragedy. And I have lived through all sorts: tragedy, the unexpected, sickness, as I mentioned, in knowing that was going to eventually, result in that person, transpiring over to the other side. I've, I experienced those things. And so wanting to know more, have more of a connection to this creative source that allows so much suffering. So I had to go back and I started asking questions. Yes, I did that thing where your grandmother or grandfather, whoever may tell you, a preacher, don't question God. Oh, I dare you to question God. You can't do that. You can't do. Oh, yeah, you can. You can. And I did. And guess what? I got answers. And it brought me a sense of peace when it comes to this thing called death. It made me more stronger. Well, I'm going to say have a better understanding of faith and what that means and what it can be in my life. Also, the implications without faith. And so, I'm going to kind of switch it up on that. Million says, I have mixed kids with an African American woman, so I'm very aware to tell the kids some people would judge differently just because they have a different skin color. You're so right. And that is so unfortunate, even in today's time, that people still judge not by the character, the content of their character, but just by, just not just by skin color. It could be their lifestyle. There's judgment all over the place just because a person doesn't have or share your worldview or even your belief in the creator source. There's judgments all over the place. Even if you are a different flavor of Christianity, Judaism, Catholicism, Baptist. There's if you're not, there is some I'm not gonna say turf wars. There's some disagreements across the aisle when you come to those different flavors of Christianity. Person may not like the way you wear your hair. A person may not like, you having tattoos all over you. A person may not like the fact that you like to party. A person may not like that, oh, you're driving their favorite car and they don't have the assets or the ability. There's so much that you can judge a person on. So I just wanted to say that, not getting off the subject, that it goes beyond the color of your skin when it comes to judgment. But it all boils down to you got to have faith and belief in yourself, faith and belief on what exists in you, that regardless of what a person thinks of you, it shouldn't even matter. It shouldn't move you. But to get to that point, to get to that level of stability and faith in yourself, and embracing who you are, to where you don't care how a person thinks or what they say about you, it comes with experience. It comes with experience. And what I'm going to say, that's going to make me pivot to the other side of faith, beyond, manifesting or having faith to manifest material things like houses, cars, or whatever that your heart desires. Let's talk about faith when it comes to relationships. Let's talk about faith and how the lack of faith can impact a person's relationship. And so, with that being said, it's, you know, a lack of faith can impact relationships in several ways. What is faith? What is a very important piece or element of faith? It's trust. It's trust. Because when you're having faith in a creator, that if you go to the creator and you ask for XYZ and you have faith that it's going to happen, that means you're having trust in that creator. You're having trust in a being that you have not seen or been able to witness with your own eyes. So maybe you've been able to feel, and that's okay. But it's all about trust. So when it comes to relationship, if there are trust issues, without trust, without faith, people may find it difficult to believe in each other's intentions, leading to misunderstandings and conflicts. If you're in a relationship with someone, and just reflecting on, one of my friends, one of my girlfriends, in a relationship with this guy, and every time you turned around, he was cheating on her, and had an excuse, a reason, or just an excuse for every time that, she may have gotten, caught up with him doing whatever he was doing. So each time that she forgave him, she lost trust and faith in him, which ultimately she lost trust and faith in their relationship. You see how that works? It degrades relationships when you lose trust and faith in someone. And that just doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes out of your actions. How you may have, in that situation with my friend, betrayal. Betrayal is a big one. And I think betrayal is probably the hardest to get over when it comes to relationships, especially if you have opened your heart to someone and you became a part of this person's life and they have betrayed you in some form or fashion. It is very, very, very difficult. At least I find it very, very difficult to get over betrayal, because there should be no place for it in the matters of the heart. Should be no place for betrayal. So you have to see. So once that sort of thing happens to you in a relationship, and even if you move on and say, okay, it happened, that's a while ago, I forgive that person, but the relationship would never be the same. And you're lying to yourself if you're saying that it is, especially if you're the one that was being betrayed. So trust issues. Trust is a very key element. Trust is a very key element when it comes to faith. Not just in the spiritual aspect, because you're trusting in a creator source to give you what you want. You're having faith in, you're praying and asking for, you're having trust and faith that the creator source is going to deliver for you. And in the relationship side of it, you having trust and faith that this person loves you as much as you love them, and that they're never doing anything to hurt you or cross you, nonetheless betray you in any form or fashion. And when you lose that trust, like I could have lost trust as a young person, praying and hoping and believing that the God that I'm reading about in this Bible, who healed the sick, was going to heal my mom. And when that didn't happen, I could have lost faith. And a part of me probably did. It just happened so long ago, I can't remember. But a part of me probably, I do remember questioning, was I praying wrong? Was my prayer inadequate? Was my faith strong enough? I don't know. But, experiences throughout after that put me in a different perspective when it comes to this faith thing. Even when it comes to relationships, Just remember that, park that for a minute if you want. Trust is very important when you're talking about faith. All right. When, faith is, the lack of faith, communication breaks down. When there's a lack of faith, the communication breaks down. Individuals may hesitate to share their thoughts and feelings because they don't trust you anymore. I don't trust to share with you my most intimate thoughts. I don't. Because you may go run and tell somebody what I said and they come back to me and I know you're the only person that I said it to, then shame on you. I can't trust you anymore. I can't trust you anymore. Or, this person that, you call to be that's your friend, your confidant, your road dog. Y'all been friends for like 10, 15 years, 10 toes down for each other. And then all of a sudden you walk in on your friend talking about you to somebody else, and not in a good way. Just put yourself in that moment. All of us have friends, best friends, or whatever. Put yourself in that moment. Someone that you've given your heart to, your confidant, you've shared intimate things with. Put yourself right in that moment. You walk in on that individual, trashing your name, saying bad things about you. Doesn't it just crush your heart? Doesn't it just make you not want to trust anybody ever again? Trust, faith. It happens every day, y'all. It happens every day. But one thing I strive to do is to not lose faith in humankind, in mankind, because I'm experienced enough, I'm mature enough to know that people make mistakes. They do. People make mistakes. We all make mistakes, and there are unintentional things that you may do to hurt people, and there are intentional things that people do to hurt people. But through it all, regardless of how many times you may have been stabbed in the back, talked about, made to be, embarrassed, betrayed, whatever the case may be, don't lose faith in mankind. Don't lose faith in people. And that's not to say that to be a fool for people, regardless of who they are. It does not mean, I'm not telling you to lose, to be a fool. But what I'm saying is, just because that person broke your heart, don't close your heart up from receiving love again in the future, be it a romantic relationship or a friendship or wherever the case may be. Give yourself time, of course, because once trust is broken, it does take time to build back up. It takes time. And communication is key. A lot of misunderstandings come from a lack of communication. Well, I overheard you say this. And then you just don't address and just walk away. Okay. And then, sometimes you come back and and you eventually somehow opportunity present itself for you to talk to that person about what you thought they said, and you kind of found out that's not what that person meant at all. Communication. However, if you're, like I said, don't be a fool for anyone, because if you're constantly being betrayed, mistreated, or talked about by the same individuals, they're not the people. They're not for you. They're not on your team. All right. All right. All right, Familia. I don't want to miss. Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes, loyalty is very underrated these days. I believe it is. What has happened, Familia? What has happened to society? What has happened to us? Where loyalty just doesn't even seem to exist anymore. Now, I've said on the podcast show before, I believe social media has a lot to do with it. Every trendy topic, trendy saying or phrase, people just gravitate to it. I'm learning to just roll with myself, and if you don't such and such in, I just X you out my life, and I just move on to the next. It's like it's a trend. There's nothing trendy about that. There's nothing trendy about that. Like I said, don't lose faith in mankind. Don't lose faith in people. But it doesn't mean to continue. I'm not saying to continue to get burnt by the certain person, but to have some grace. Because we all evolving and growing and trying to learn this walk of life. I know for me, I want to get it right as much as I can, because I want to get off this karmic wheel. I want to get off this karmic circle. Because I'm an explorer at heart. And if there's more to explore than life on this earth, I want to explore. I want to explore. I don't want to get stuck and spinning on the same wheels and getting tested over the same things over and over and over and over and over. So okay, and Familia said people compromise on cheating if the person is financially stable and provide money to the person who is cheated on. In my opinion, and that's true. You do have those who will compromise, who would say, "Okay, as long as I'm being provided for, I deal with the extracurricular activities of my significant other." You know, they can have an extra woman on the side, extra man on the side, or whatever the case may be. As long as you're providing a roof over my head, the car I want to drive, money in my pocket, a bill for me to get my nails done, my hair done, and all that superficial stuff. But absolutely, absolutely. Good question, man. People think the grass is always greener on the other side, but what if it is plastic grass? That is true. And you know what? You have to be careful because the delusion is real. It is so real. And if you just took the time, if you think about you're starting out in a new relationship, you're dating, starting, to date anew. And if this person is checking all your boxes so fast, I think it's important to slow down and let some things. I've been used this word manifestation in a different context. I think it's just good to just slow down and let some things manifest first, not to move so fastly, not to move so quickly, because what you're saying to me, sir, is too good to be true. In today's world, in today's society, what you're telling me is too good to be true. Okay, you're a provider. You don't believe in the woman working. You help with the laundry. You help wash the dishes. You help with the kids, help with the homework. You run errands. You go to the grocery store. You do what? All these things. Where have you been, dear sir? Sounds a little bit too good to be true. So, absolutely. Slow that thing down if you get into the dating, if you're in the dating world, starting to, just got out of a relationship and trying to get back out there. Ooh, if they checking them boxes too quick, I think it's a great idea. Before you put faith, using that word in this context, you put faith and trust in that person by their mere words or even what they got in their wallet. You got some, I understand, they'll even show you what's in their bank account. Now, what do you do? What do you call that? They look, I got such and such, such and such. I can show you my bank account right now. What is that? What is that? Family said, yes, indeed, better walk the walk before talk the talk. Absolutely. I don't think I didn't grow up in this day and time. But I remember I've watched enough television shows, enough romance shows where the guy had to come to the house and ask the father's permission if they could date their daughter. There's a thing called courtship. Now I know things moving so fast these days. Anybody got time for no court? And you say you can do what? You can pay my light bill. You can pay my rent. Okay, you good. I ain't got but two check boxes. I ain't got but two check boxes. You meet all of them. Let's give it a go. But I like to guard my heart. I'm married very long time, and I'm not out there, trying to date or anything like that. But if I were, I would like to take things a whole lot slowly. It could be scary out there. Delusion is real. Delusion is real. Social media has just opened up and presented a whole new world to us. Oh my gosh. And one of the reasons I believe that show Catfish became so popular, because people just hiding behind social media, hiding their true personality, true intent behind social media. And it still happens today. And unfortunately, I think social media has led this world to be such a lonely world and such a superficial world that that whole idea about courtship and getting the father's permission to date their daughter. I think this generation, they'll laugh at that. I mean, really, but I think there's something beautiful in that. I think there's a level of trust and faith that you're building, by doing that. So yeah, absolutely. I got to get to question number 2 because I'm still on number 1, but I'm pretty sure I have hit on number 2 already. So let's see what it says. Can you think of a time when having faith helped you feel better or overcome a challenge? Well, I did. I used my mom as an example, and that took. You never really. I don't really think you ever get over losing someone so close and so dear to you. as a parent, um, I think you just over time, you know how to say time heals all wounds. I don't think that's true. I don't think you're ever truly healed from it. I think you're just better able to deal with it and acceptance. I'm going to say acceptance is so important when it comes to uh, not just losing loved ones. It could be losing a job, losing a dear friendship. It can be anything. Acceptance is the first step. When you are in denial, you delay your, I'm gonna say, the process of healing to a better place. Like I said, I don't believe you completely heal for anything, because if you just sit down in those moments of quietness, you will see that your mind, that ego, it will remember every painful moment, every painful experience, every wrong that a person has done to you. It will, if it had every opportunity to replay those moments in your head 24/7, it would. Like I said, this ego, this mind is more negative than positive. That's why you got to focus on the spiritual from the heart. Because, like I said, anything that has ever happened to you in a negative way, anything that anyone or anything that may have hurt you, the mind tends to hold on to that and want to replay that in your mind over and over and over and over. So, how can I think of a time when having faith helped me better overcome a challenge? Um, like I said, after losing, this is beyond my mom. There was a stretch of time, maybe, I mean, back to back to back, there was just death in the family. And it just kind of engulfed me really and put me in a dark space. And I just want to better understand this thing called life. I mean, because what are we just here to die? We're here to suffer. And I just wanted to better understand it. And so I went on this journey. I asked questions. I want to understand, even though I would not fully, because operating in this flesh, and to have all knowledge is to be the one source itself. I wasn't asking for that. I just want to better understand so I could cope, so I can accept. As I was saying, acceptance is very important. And so when I got a better understand that this life is cyclical, that we're energy beings, and this energy that we have housed in this physical being, in this existence, is just temporary. It goes back to source. It has to go back to source. And it's not a bad thing. What, to me, and I don't want to get on the religious tip, what makes it a bad thing, what makes death so scary for people, this whole notion of a heaven and a hell. I, for one, do not believe in a physical heaven or hell. Because if life can be blissful here in this physical, and it can be hell here in this physical. It just all depends on your perception and your acceptance and how you navigate and leaning on spirit source to navigate this thing called life. Like I said, this experience is so individual, it's so personal, that I don't think there's one individual, be a pastor or I don't know, what do you call it, these cyclists, whatever the case may be, these spiritual people, whatever. I think this life is so personal that is so very important for you to have a personal relationship with infinite source, with creative source, because only then can you truly understand who you are in this physical and how to operate in this life, in this physical, by going to create a source and not having that middle person that can just muddy the waters. To me, it just makes it so inorganic. I want my relationship with source to be organic. But like I said, that's me. And that's all based on my own personal experiences, what I've been through. There are people that need that middle person. They need to go to a physical building and having someone on the podium, speaking words of joy or I don't know, some cases damnation. Wherever you are in your journey, in your life, is for you. Just conversations with Deborah will never condemn you or judge you for where you are in your spiritual journey. And I ask that you do the same for me. Because I'm not just sitting here just spouting off things off the top of my head or looking at something I saw on social media. These are raw experiences that I have, and I do not take them for granted at all. But I do share my experiences here with you guys. So yeah, faith did help me get through some dark times. I will say that. 3, what does it mean to manifest something in your life, and how do people try to do it? Like I said, to me, faith is first believing in what it is that you're asking for, and you go within with that instead of without. You go within because you have a spark of divinity, a piece of the creative source within you. You go then and say you're going to, and you command it in And from my opinion, you command it. You don't get up there and you beg and plead, then you don't believe that what you have and you can move mountains. It can. That's where I think faith starts. And then throwing some action in there, then manifestation. Those things that you want they are manifested. They go hand in hand to me. They go hand in hand. All right, question number 4. How could believing in yourself be similar to having faith in something bigger? See, that's what I said. Believing in yourself, believing in that piece of divinity, that divine spark that gives you life, believing that it exists in you, and those things that Christ did, you shall be able to do greater things. That is in the word. But but to me, I think it takes experience to get to that level of faith. I'm gonna be honest. I think you have to go through some things. I think your faith has to be tested, you know, to where you get to the point to where, look, I have no choice but to believe. Where else can I go? Where else can I go? Where else can I go? I have to believe this thing. I have to believe it and put some work with it. And put some work with it. All right, I'm gonna, before I get to question number 5, the final question of the night, gonna make sure I didn't miss any more comments. I do not, but I do want to share some more things about how faith can implicate things in your life, such as your relationship. From an emotional distance, faith helps build emotional connections. It does. It's a beautiful thing when you can trust the person you're in a relationship with. It's a beautiful thing when you can trust your family members. It's a beautiful thing to know that they love you without a shadow of a doubt. And then and only then, when you got that faith, that level of trust in those individuals, then and only then should you open up your heart to them. Then and only then should you show, the most intimate things, be guarded. I believe in going in and being guarded first. By nature, I am a private person. By nature, I'm a private person. I don't typically put myself out there. But when it comes to me, I have a blind faith in people that has burned me in some cases, but that has not made me give up on mankind or humankind. But what it has helped me to do is open up my eyes to what people are capable of. I expected, people, like I said, having a blind faith in people, I expected them to act as I'd act, come from a place of true intentions, cause no harm, be of no harm to anyone. And that has not been my experience. And so I had to learn that everyone does not have your best intentions at heart. They don't. And so when you get burned and so to speak, you learn how to better maneuver and be, more guarded. Because like I said, once you have been betrayed, once you have been hurt by someone, it is hard to get over that. It is, even though you may forgive and you guys may come back, reconnect, that relationship, that connection would never be the same. It would never be the same. But like I said, people make mistakes. I make mistakes. But one thing that I am not going to do is be made a fool of. I had to learn it the hard way. So when there is no faith, there's no trust, there's emotional distance. People are going to be guarded. They're going to be guarded regardless. It's just part of that nature of protecting yourself. That relationship is going to lack depth if there's no trust there. It's going to lead to feelings of isolation or detachment. And so I got to ask the question, if you guys can help me answer this. Is it worth it? When someone betray you, when someone hurt you, when you just put yourself out there and then they just gave you their tails to kiss, is it worth trying to reconnect? Now, when I say don't give up on mankind, I'm talking about just shutting yourself off. There are people who can't handle betrayal in such a way that they just shut themselves off to the world. They may go to work, do what they need to do, go grocery shopping or whatever. But when it comes to interacting with people, they just close themselves off and they don't interact at all. There are some people who just cannot handle any level of betrayal. So my question is it worth it to try to reconnect when someone has betrayed you? Does it depend on the level of betrayal? Does it depend on what it was? Is it worth the energy? When you went in with everything you had, open heart and mind, just to be betrayed? You tell me. You tell me. All right. 4, insecurity and doubt. A lack of faith can breed insecurity and doubt. Like I said, you doubt in a relationship now, you're feeling insecure about it, and it causes individuals to question the stability and future of your relationship. Is it worth it? I know it's going to take a lot. It would take a lot to rebuild. I know there are situations in marriages, where the wife or the husband may have cheated or whatever, and instead of just throwing the marriage away, they work at it. They go to counseling, they go to therapy, or whatever the case may be. They try to rebuild, and they will tell you it takes a lot of work. And like I said, a lot of times that mind is just reminding you. It's reminding you. You have to. It's a daily fight. It's a daily fight. And that love has got to be louder than that negative voice in your head. And maybe that's the same situation, whether, using marriage as an example, with any relationships, be it family or friend. That love for that family member, that love for that friend has got to be louder than the voice in your head that is constantly trying to remind you of the betrayal. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe that's the answer. All right, 5. Let's see. Decreased support. Faith often involves supporting one another through challenges. Without it, partners or friends might feel unsupported or alone during their difficult times. Absolutely. Absolutely. If there's no trust, then you're not going to be so willing to support the person that betrayed you or the person that you don't trust, even though your relationship, it's almost like being in a relationship with a ghost. To me, if there's no trust there, it's like being in a relationship with a ghost. So once again, is it worth it? Is that love louder than the betrayal? Just have to ask that question. All right. If there are any other comments, I want to make sure I don't lose them. And I'm going to get into the very final question of the night. And before I do that, if you are just joining the latest podcast show, I want to remind you of our new lineup here. I'm here every Sunday, just conversations with Deborah, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then Felisa is here on every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, well, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Talk to him, Felisa. So be sure to catch her on the latest podcast show. And if you have not subscribed as of yet, we do have our, I'm going to remove this comment that's highlighted because I want you to see our banner there. Yeah, our barcode right here. You scan it with your phone, take you straight to the latest podcast show on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the notification button, and just share. Just share. This show is all about sharing your experiences. What you share may help someone. It may help someone get through a difficult time, because we're all trying to figure this thing out, this thing called life. And with that being said, our final question is, do you think you can use both faith and manifestation to achieve your goals? Why or why not? Like I said, they go hand in hand. Faith and manifestation go hand in hand. And I do believe you can have faith with works to manifest your goals. I do. And as I started off with the show saying, I do not believe it is as simple as some of these trendy new age manifest this, get up at 4 o'clock in the morning every morning and pray and focus and meditate, do it for 30 days and watch your dreams come true. No, I don't believe it's that simple. Now, like I said, if you're one of the ones who have tried that and it's worked for you, then let us know. I could be completely wrong. But I think if it was so simple, everything that we ever want in life, we would have it. I would go to bed tonight focused on something that I want. And to me, next 2-3 days, I should have it. It doesn't work that simple. But I think it starts with within, looking within, and drawing from that piece of divinity that exists within all of us. A piece of infinite source, the creator that created every single thing in the universe. We have that spark of divinity in us. And what religion, in my opinion, has not taught us is how to draw upon that. Because they have you to look outside you. Look up. How many look up when they're praying? What are you looking up to? What are you seeing? What do you see? Besides a blue sky or the roof in your house or in your room, what are you seeing? Huh? The creative source is everywhere, in everything. That's why the Bible says you can never be separated from it. You can never be separated from it because it's in you. So if you go within and you believe in that creative source, that piece of divinity that exists within you, I mean, truly believe. But before you can even get to that level of faith, you got to understand what the creative source is all about. But you got to remove the veil, so to speak. And how do you do that? Through your experiences, through asking questions. We are designed to be so shut in and enclosed and encased into this physical being that it's hard for us to think outside this physical being and to imagine what the creator source, because like the creator source is nameless, shapeless, formless. It exists. I am that I am. It's in the word. I am that I am. I exist because I exist. I am that I am. I cannot describe it in any other way. I am that I am. And you are because the creator created you. And with a piece of divinity within you, you can manifest things in your life. You got to have that level of faith. And you can't have that level of faith without understanding what exists in you. Start asking the questions. Don't be afraid to ask the questions of who you are. What is so wrong about understanding who you are? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's no words that I experience is key. That's what I'm gonna say. Experience is key. And there's gonna be some things that's gonna try your faith. And in trying your faith, if you don't, in not being defeated, you're gonna get more solid and stable in your faith. I believe that. All right, so I think I done shared all that I've had to share tonight about faith versus manifestation. I do hope some of this information that I shared with you resonated with you. But all in all, where any topic that I talk about, I always try to land on love because that's what it means, love. People say love doesn't hurt, but I think it does. You know why? Because we're human. We make mistakes. We hurt those that we love. But just don't be one of those individuals that the hurt that you cause is so deep that that person can't bounce back from it. You got, So when you purely operate from a place of love, love is going to come back to you. It's going to come back to you. And with that being said, thank you so very much for joining Just Conversation with Deborah. I will be back with you guys next Sunday. I thank you for familiar with your feedback. It was wonderful. It was awesome. Thank you for joining the show. I think there was a sugar daddy and somebody, well, without calling names, thank all you guys. Thank all you guys for joining the show tonight and have a blessed evening.